tell you now about a strange and unusual journey through the dark times. The zombie apocalypse. If you're hearing this now, you've survived it. Hopefully many have. I don't know how much more time I have, or even if I'll be able to remain unaffected and for how long due to a strategy I came up with. And I'm a bit embarrassed to admit. I'm a serial murderer. I've been for many years. If I have enough time, I'll tell you what I know as to the why of these things. I liked zombie movies when I was a kid. There was an animated puppet show that was great. It scared me. I loved being scared. But now they're real. I don't like being scared anymore. Even though I'm not yet in harm's way. You probably want to know what caused the infection. I'm not suggesting I'm a scientist, but I'm certainly well educated and know how to read. I got a Master of Science degree from NYU, so I'm now part of the National Academy of Science. Therefore, I get preprint academic articles, and I actually read most of them since I don't have to go to work. I always had a curious mind, and serial murdering doesn't consume 24 hours, 7 days a week. So, there you go. Here's what I learned. I'll tell you the story as a puppet show because that's the nicest way to tell difficult tales. Don't believe me? Read the original Grimm fairy tales and you realize they weren't made for kids. They were created for adults and helped primitive societies, with innocent, developing childlike minds, deal with the horrors of life before there was technology to protect them. Come to think of it, these old tales had a lot of cannibalism in them. Hansel and Gretel, Little Red Riding Hood. God knows what Rumpelstiltskin had in mind with the kids he stole. Hunger has always been the primary compelling force in animals, including humans. Sex drive is equal or secondary. Extreme hunger, especially preceding death, will drive humans to do anything starting with crimes, probably cannibalism a long time ago. A very long time ago. So those original fairy tales, for adults and not kids, might have been based on the fears of occasional but common practices like cannibalism. Just saying. And maybe it's why stories of zombies are so popular. But this one is no story. This one is true. In retrospect, maybe our technology is the worst threat of all. Stories like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein seem to predict this. It told of the negative consequences of scientific ambition, the unquenchable quest for knowledge. Dr. Frankenstein was a modern-day Prometheus, defying nature by creating life from dead body parts, just as Prometheus, a god, defied the other gods by stealing fire and giving it to mankind. And boy, did he get punished for it. The stories of Frankenstein and Prometheus point out the tragic and unintended consequences of playing with forces beyond human control. We should have learned from them. If the world survives this zombie apocalypse, sadly, maybe we still won't. I don't think I'll be around to know. Will anyone? However, in retrospect, maybe technology was the worst threat of all. That seemed to be the case here. Anyway, in this puppet show, a group of young scientists are working hard in their labs to create a cure for weight loss. Some brilliant economists decided that massive obesity in the Western world was more harmful than any disease in terms of the medical problems it created and the economic costs. It also was adding greatly to global warming. The more people eat, the more food must be produced. That leads to lots of trucks and tractors and processing plants. And then there's meat. Our love of meat products produces a lot of animals that release a lot of methane gas. That's a nice word for farts. I'm not kidding. It's a lot, and it adds to the greenhouse effect which creates global warming. So massive grants were created to come up with a weight loss solution that would be cheap and effective. They already had stumbled upon something like it in a diabetes drug, Ozempic. People lost tons of weight, but they regained it. So they were sure they could go all the way with a long-lasting fix. That led to experiments on animal species that never got fat, and reptiles proved the best candidate. A lot of our diseases came from messing around with animals too much. So go figure. Someone didn't follow protocols and left the dogs out, which means didn't zip up their rubber suit well enough, or broke it, or maybe stole a sample from the lab to sell to the Chinese as a biological weapon. The Chinese and weapons are always blamed in movies. But it doesn't matter. It got out and spread like wildfire as viruses do. This one, especially because it was linked to excessive hunger, led to a very hungry animal. To be honest, the human race was driven by the hunger drive and the sex drive. Everyone on Earth, or almost everyone, became a kind of zombie. Other movies have had other theories, but they all seem to be in the same vein. Good science fiction is always based on good scientific facts. So, there you go. Here's what I learned.